Good job, Kennedy. Can always count on you.
Well, it's wonderful because I can edit the phone call out of there. All right, everybody, we are back and live talking about Tim. We're back in live with Tim Talk. I had a slight hiccup that caused the recording to pause for a moment, so you'll definitely notice it in the video. Anyways, we were talking about our last weeks, and you said you helped Lost Dragon get their shoeing.
That was a
I
while ago, actually, though.
Oh, okay. Oh, and that's why they keep giving you the letting you use the Oclura
Yes.
radars.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're working on helping me get my Oklura because I helped them with their Schween, and I didn't want to take a 5% because there's I don't know there's not really a 5% that I want right now except for Hocus and Nagai's.
And
So,
there's no radar for either of them.
yep, cannot
I
help with that.
I got my Shuin last week from my 5% radar, which was the third 5% radar I did. So I was very happy to get this danger noodle. Originally I was gonna sell it, but like with all the time that I put into it, it actually looks ridiculously good.
No,
Like
you know why would you sell it though? Like it's a Schween. It's one of the best 5% radars. At least sell like an Oshiara or something.
See, Oshiara is the one I want. I would actually make a team around like
Oh,
Aluma
easy.
Oshiara.
Easy. I'll just give you the one I hatched. It's fine.
You hatched Aluma Oshiara?
Yeah.
Big flex. Big flex. I like it. Okay, I'll take it. It's just free.
No, Grace would kill me. Graceful
I
Clef
see.
gifted me that.
Yeah, I see
Um,
the chat going crazy.
so
That's
if I were to
beautiful.
give it away, I would be dead. And I do say that just to trigger you.
There was recently, I guess in the US, I don't know worldwide, but I'm pretty sure worldwide, Valentine's Day just happened. And I wanted to do an episode that we're not going to do tonight because Valentine's Day is past and we have better news to talk about. But I wanted to do an episode of like the best places in Temtem to like go on a picnic on. I had plans to spend Valentine's Day with my partner, and we were going to spend it gaming and stuff, but I spent most of yesterday just being miserable and complaining. So yeah, that's that was my week in Temtem.
The best kind of date.
Yeah, exactly. It's just me for 45, well, not 45 minutes all day long. I want to eat food. I miss food. Please. I want to eat food.
Inside the Anak volcano, I don't know about that. I personally think where General X pushes Max over the edge is a good spot.
Ooh.
This way if your date gets you angry, you just do the same thing.
I think it would just be romantic at an airship dock, just sitting and watching all the airships like coming and going. Personally, I really love train stations and just sitting on trains and being like on a train. So I don't know, maybe something
Particular
similar.
trains or any trains? Like some
Oh,
people prefer a certain style of train.
when I lived in the Chicagoland area, and there just had these big, and I'm forgetting the name of the company. I'm pretty sure it's just Metro.
Amtrak?
Of might be. My mind is leaning toward Metro. But anyways, they had these big trains, obviously two-sided, but also there were two floors to them, the bottom floor and the top floor. And I just remember pleasant trips all the time as a kid, taking the train into Chicago, and it was like a 2.5 hour train ride, and I would just lean against the window, chatting with my brother, chatting with my dad, drifting off, waking up and, rolling through the city and seeing all the buildings pass. It was very, very, very pleasant. Anyways, would love to go on a date at an airship dock and have a picnic with somebody.
I
Get
also
similar
like
vibes.
I also like trains. We have you know, a railroad station here, and it's pretty cool to go on. I've always wanted to go on one of the bullet trains in like Japan and stuff. I always thought that would be really fun.
So,
Just going like 200, 300 miles an hour on a on a train.
yeah, I can imagine. With Temtem with teleportation coming and revolutionizing like transportation, imagine just dating somebody through the digital void. There you go. That'd be romantic. I kid, I kid. All right, let's talk about the reset for this week. That's my D&D coming out right there. So this week for the weekly reset, we have a Luma week in Park and a pretty decent free Tim week in Digital Koish coming back. I'll tackle the Luma week because this one this one tickles me. Uh, for Inside Park this week, it's 5,897 pan suns, which is such a weird price. I remember they said the price of Park is dynamic and the algorithm bases it off of like factors from the previous week. I've never seen this before of like 5,897. It's such a weird number to come up with. But
It is a pretty weird number.
yeah, 5,897 Pansuns gets you 8 side cards this week. Inside of the park, we have Bun Bun spawning at a 70% rate with a 4 times Luma rate. And a 20% chance at an egg technique, which is really good because Bun Buns, they have the option of, I think, Crystal Bite, and the other one is Dust Vortex, and Dust Vortex is that great egg move that you want on your Mudrids.
Yeah.
And then you have Umeshis in Park this week at an 80% spawn rate, 4 times Luma rate, and a 20% egg technique. This one I probably would be a little bit hesitant of, just because so many people used to free Tim off of Ukama. There's so many of them out there that you can probably get one for about the time it take you to farm the Pan Suns that, whatever it takes you to do in Park. And then Ukama doesn't need its egg move to be a useful Luma. So all in all, you're really doing Park this week if you want Bun Bun, but that Snow Bunny looks so cute. I don't blame anybody that goes there this week.
And I mean, you might get, Crystal Bite or Dust Vortex, which would be pretty cool. Although, it's not really useful and competitive in its current state. Mudra's just not good.
Yeah, there was a time when crystal attackers were like the thing and you needed to have like 3 on your team.
I feel
Now,
like.
go ahead.
Sorry, no, no. Finish your thought. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say now like every other team has like 1 crystal Tim on it. So having a very strong like earth technique isn't necessary, or fire technique for handling crystals, because it's just like they're not the threat of the meta. So yeah, Bun Bun into Madrid kind of loses some of its value because you don't need that really strong answer to crystals right now.
I do wonder if in the next island, Madrid's gonna have a bit more usability with all the electrics coming.
And digital, I think crystals
and
double effective against
Yeah,
digital.
and digital. That's right.
Or it might just be electric, but I know crystal takes half from digital. I do know that for a fact.
Hitman the Third. No, you cannot still acquire the Tamer's Cap. It was a Kickstarter backer reward only. There's no way to acquire it other than buying it for millions of Pansuns.
Yes, absolute millions of Pansuns. Now that's a rare item that if I got, I wouldn't think about selling.
Yeah, that right there is is basically gold in Temtem. Like if you can get your hands on one of those and hold on to it, it's only going to continue to grow in value because I don't think there's anything as rare or will ever be as rare. I just don't see it.
Do you want to tackle the free Tim, or would you like me to?
No, I've got it.
Take
So
it away.
this week in Freetem, we've got for 40 releases, papaya candy, something useful. You might use it. For 150, we've got 2 Wish You Well coins. Not bad. Also pretty useful. Maybe you get something cool out of it. And then we've got the Indira die at 300 releases. If I remember, the Indira die is actually pretty popular. I know a lot of people want this one, and I think it sells fairly well. So even if you don't like purple dyes, you can probably get a decent amount of money for the Indira die, because if I remember, I think it's only available through Freetem. or
I
drop
believe
from the
you're right
Wishy
on
Well
that.
coins. And then for 450 releases, you get 2 stamina telomere hacks, which is very cool. I always like to see telomere hacks as an option at the end. It makes it worth it. It is a good congratulations, you made it reward. And gives people actual incentive to finish their free tem each week rather than, you know, something like a DNA strand for some odd reason. I'll
Yeah.
never understand, but it's just so underwhelming when they do it. So it's nice to see that at least there's some consistency with telomere hacks continuing to come back.
Yeah, and then finally we have the digital
Digital
Koish,
coish.
which only digital Temtem available right now if you want a
That's
digital.
right.
That's
That's
what you
right. Go
gotta
get your
get.
go get your goldfish Ori. Go get it. Go get
Yeah,
it.
I was lucky enough to get a Luma digital Koish when it first came out, so that made me super happy. But also really good for stocking up on breeding material for when Sapanku drops. Which, gosh, if only we had an estimate of when it would be here, which we'll talk about later in the show. All in all, I'm really happy for this free 10 week though. The papaya candies, I've pretty much only been getting the first tier rewards of free Tim or sometimes getting the second tier. I haven't really been grinding it out heavy. So the papaya candy will come in handy. The wish you well coins will come in handy. Probably won't get to the dire telomere hack later this week unless some crazy miracle happens in my life. All in all, though, I want to say this is a really nice week to be playing Temtem, and I wonder if this is kind of like the start of the rev up hype to Sipanku since they did release an estimate of when
They
they
they've
hope to
re-
drop it.
and they've been doing some teaser stuff too. They've starting to tease it up, build up excitement. They showed us Golzy. They helped us. They asked us to help them name baby Spartsy. I feel like they're doing a pretty good job trying to get people interested.
Yeah,
So
so get your digital Koish for the breeding furt for digitals coming soon, and then you actually have the option of useful Lumas. If you get a Luma Umeshi, which evolves into Ukama, Ukama is going to be great against digitals, and if you get a Luma Bun Bun that evolves into a Madrid, you actually can get Dust Vortex on it because the egg tech and Dust Vortex, great against Electric Tims. So, real
it's
nice
probably its
week.
best move, right?
Dust Vortex, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And unless does it learn Crystal Spikes?
It learns Crystal Bite, not Crystal Spikes, if I
I think
remember.
it learns Crystal Dust as its other move,
Yeah,
which
Crystal
is
Dust
okay.
and Crystal Bite. Crystal Bite's pretty good, but it's a physical attack. Is Dust Vortex also a physical attack?
No, it's a special attack, and Madrid wants to be ran
Perfect.
as a special attacker, so
So
it's good
Crystal Bite's
stuff.
essentially fairly useless.
Well, yeah, I mean it's stab crystal typing, but one of the reasons why you ran Madrid is it's like fast as all wazoo. I think it's got like it's either 100 base speed or 110 base speed. The thing gets down. Like it's one of the few things that can compete with Gaialis. Gaialis just had a much better move set. But if you got that,
Really?
yeah, let me double check. Make sure I'm not misleading
I mean, it makes
people.
sense. It's a hare. So, I mean, not that every
Oh,
does.
you know what? I lied. It's not 100, it's 95 speed. Ukama and Gaialis were at 100. But
Well, still, you
yeah,
said it's you said it was up there, which is accurate.
yeah, it is a
Which makes
fast bun
sense
bun.
because it is a hare, which means it should probably be quick.
Yeah, and I'm looking at its trait now. It gets receptive, which gives it additional turns of getting beneficial statuses. Would be nice if we had more things that could put out like regeneration. I think that's like the one thing that's stopping receptive from being like as good as resistant is that it's you just put out less beneficial status conditions
Yeah.
in general. But yeah, anything else you want to say on the reset before we move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
Hit
One
me.
last thing. please, for the love of all things holy, I ask of you, CEO Tataru, stop giving us Umishi. Just stop it, okay?
How many times
Stop.
has Umishi been in the Cypark?
Stop it. Too many times. It's gotta be like the 10th time. Like, I have seen Umishi inside park so many times. It's unnecessary. Just stop it.
You're making me think of
Just
the
stop.
WandaVision, the first episode of just stop it. Stop it.
I haven't seen it.
Stop
Don't
it.
ruin it. Don't
That's the
ruin it.
first episode. Doesn't ruin any much of anything. All right, let's jump on to the next topic. We've got a look at Sipanku. So I had before we leave the weekly reset, thank you Temtem France again for putting together this graphic for the whole community. We're all very appreciative. So I had I've been thinking back and forth of if I wanted to read out this whole thing on if I wanted to read out this whole thing on the podcast, the whole post. But earlier last week, Krima put out a post, a first look at Supanku, the current status of development, and more. In this post, they basically went down and they talked about the expectations that the roadmap kind of put on them, and then how they've been trying to meet them, dealing with COVID delays, and that the studio is really far behind because of COVID, and the roadmap isn't entirely accurate. And so they were just talking about some of their philosophies moving forward from here and how they're going to communicate, and just expectations of stepping forward. So the roadmap's kind of going to be well, not a comprehensive, but is going to be a really good list of the promised features that are going to come at some point in the future. As the game is being developed, certain needs arise to engage the player base and keep people entertained, and that are unforeseen consequences of having an early access that need to be addressed. And so as that happens, they come up with other features and other things that get implemented that weren't initially on the roadmap. And I think some of these are like fishing and koish,
Yeah.
and then all of the weekly dojo rematches and everything, and then the radars weren't anything ever on the roadmap, but were kind of necessary. And so they plan on having the flexibility to implement more changes like that and drift away from the strictness of trying to deliver what's on the roadmap. So with that, we've talked about it 100 times on this show, 51 times probably, of just, you gotta let the roadmap go. It's a good outline, but it is not anything to hinge our expectations on. And with that, I think we can say rest in peace, roadmap, and we can just kind of retire it to a nice little retirement home in Florida and let it be.
Yep. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Roadmaps are stupid. Roadmaps are stupid. Everybody wants them. Everybody begs for them. And then everybody gets upset when things don't always work out because, you know, it's super easy to predict the future. You always know what's going to happen so that you can never fall behind. Um, so I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad they're not making another one. And I'm surprised my comment on their tweet actually got so many likes. Because I feel like the no roadmap please is a relatively unpopular opinion. Um,
Yeah,
but
I don't wholly agree with it. I'm really, really ultra appreciative for the roadmap, but then I also never held to of just like by, the final day of spring, we're getting this on. It's like, no, it's just is what it is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a roadmap that doesn't really have any times but shows you what to expect and what patch updates you might expect them in is a good idea. I think it's nice to let people know what's coming, and when they might be expected. In patch update, not necessarily. timelines. Just, this is scheduled to be in Sapanku or whatever.
I've
Not
supported a couple games being developed over Patreon, and those are some of like the most frustrating and funny ones because it's just like these are the features that are coming. When are they coming? They're coming
yeah.
eventually.
And so Hitman the Third asked in chat, was the roadmap ever accurate? And I would say, yeah, the roadmap was quite accurate actually.
Yeah, I think they
Up
had
until
two
up until
releases.
Sapanku, I believe.
Yeah.
They released stuff within the timelines. They just have not been able to release Sapanku within the timeline. Um, but the roadmap was fairly accurate until Sapanku. And then obviously people started getting upset, and obviously the roadmap is no longer, you know, accurate. So, you know, there's no point in updating the dates.
Yeah, and I would like to urge anybody who has a very strong and mean feelings about this to write your comment down on a sheet of paper, go buy a brazier, put it in there, light it on fire, and then just throw it into the universe. Because
I
it just is what it is.
I do agree, J Dragon. I think that they need to be a little bit more transparent. As far as that stuff goes. If it's looking delayed, don't don't wait to tell us until it's already late. Like, I get it. You know, it's fine that it's delayed. I'm not upset about it. I'm perfectly okay with it. I would rather them release a fully functional update with very minimal bugs than release something that's rushed, botched, and just not good. Um, but it would be nice to know where they are in the process, or if there's going to be delays before it happens, before it's already obviously delayed.
Yeah, there's a whole double-edged sword to that. I guess I'll play devil's advocate here because this is Tim Talk, and we try and explore like all the opinions of stuff. There is kind of this unforeseen an unfortunate part of like developing a game where you have to be aware of market forces. And I know Krima's not like here to try and sell a bajillion copies of this game and stuff, but the continued purchases and the continued activity of the game helps with, visibility and helps,
Yeah.
probably keep everything going. And I know personally, like I play another MMO, Guild Wars 2, and one of the big things with it is like even they're developing a next expansion, but and this just happened with Icebrood Saga where they said there are no more expansions in the pipeline of what they were going to develop, and they're just going to make like free content, and
Yeah.
player interests just kind of nosedived because it was just like, oh, okay, this isn't worth my time right now. Like, when it is worth my time, I will come back to it. But like, and that had a big influence on all. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on with the studio that was relevant to the dips. But I definitely think that hurt a lot more than had it just been the other factors.
Yeah.
As much as I would say um the same as for Crema, whereas, let's say development isn't going, as planned and horrible things can happen to slow down development. But I think in the same light, things can also happen to help out and ease in development of, people figuring out bugs or ways to design and make content that can make it go faster. So if it's just like, if you come out early and say like, oh yeah, we're projecting that this is going to be much 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 later than we anticipated, I think that does a bigger blow to the player base than like we're trying to get it out to you as soon as possible. Like, so I kind of appreciate this mentality of just like, look, we tried to hit our deadline but we couldn't, and now that we didn't, here's where we're expecting. And that, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree with the comment that Grace left. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. There's going to be people that are upset on either end, and they can't please everybody, so they might as well just focus on developing the game.
Yeah, it's better to
and
ask for
and
forgiveness than ask for permission. There we go.
yeah,
So all of that said, we didn't get to even the major part of news that came out of this post is that they did give us an estimation of when Sapanku is coming. So they're where they're trying to release it is the end of March, the beginning of April. So that's looking to be like a month and a half away. So we got a couple more weeks of just appreciating the place that we're currently at in game, and Sapanku is happily on the horizon. If all things go as they are planning it to, and I mean, cut Krima a break, universe. Let's hope
it's
everything goes to plan.
it's probably going to be April 1st, knowing ya. Gonna push out an update
April
on
1st.
They're gonna push out an update on April 1st, but it's not Sapangu. It's just it changes all of the Temtem character models to Pookie
That would be
or Hidoti.
fantastic. Man, I want to say shout out to Shadows in chat. They let me borrow a Pukey for one night so I can make like the thumbnail for the video, and now it's forever in my Lumapedia. It, Luma Pukey looks so good. I wouldn't even be mad at that April Fool's joke, even though I guess it'd all be like regular Pukies. But yeah, so looking at March and our end of March, beginning of April for Sapanku, I have very high hopes for Sapanku, and the Krima team hasn't let me down yet so far with any of the releases that I've been a part of. I've really liked the rank system. I really like the updates they did to the rank system. The weekly dojo battles were, a fantastic addition to the game. The only thing that is kind of hit or miss for me is the Koish. When RNG favors me, I love the fishing quests. And when RNG doesn't favor me, I hate the fishing quests. So I'm kind of neutral on that. And then Kisawa as an island was so much fun, so fantastic, so beautiful. The cultures, the characters. So I've got very high hopes for Sapanku, and we've already had a couple teases of the music, which is just like it's amazing that this game keeps topping itself in the soundtrack. So I cannot wait. I cannot
I
wait, but I have to
just
wait.
want the full OST. That's all I want. Just the full OST. I would love to have that. I think it would be hopefully something they release alongside the game. Um, and it's just everything about the music in this game is fantastic. Granted, it's not something I listen to all the time because I'm usually in and out of encounters all day, but going through the story and just enjoying the, areas and all that. Um, the music's so good, and I hope that they release an OST. And it seems like every island just gets better, better
I
and
got
better.
really excited. I was hanging out on the Discord the other day, and I saw a post from Yaw, and it said, Damien just gave me this gift, and he posted a picture of music, and I was so frustrated because I was like, I want to listen to the music. Don't post a picture of it. But
Such a troll. You gotta love it.
yeah. Final little things of this post, and then we'll move on to the next bit of news. We got a couple little teaser pictures of what Sapanku is going to look like. We got a little wacky Sparzy standing in front of a little pond, and then one of those hillside or hilltop temples that it was teased about that dot the landscape of Sapanku. And then this temple has these beautiful Golzi statues outside of them, which I would love to get my hands on one of those and just put it like
Look at
right
the
above
baby
my bed.
Spartsy. Look at Smolzy just looking at his future form.
Yes. And then the final little thing with this is there is a Temtem we've never seen before, in the background here, it's a little teeny tiny bumblebee, which I was just like, oh, awesome. We can talk about this on Temtalk. But we got an even better picture of it, which is our next piece of news. So I'm going to skip down to this and then
Wah,
we'll
wah,
come back to
wah.
the
I
Sparzy
hope,
news.
I hope that it's blue. The Luma. I want the Luma to be blue like Genki. That's not it. That's
That
not the
isn't it.
bumblebee.
You know what? Now that I saw it
That's
and
not the bumblebee.
you
That's that
know,
other thing.
I know I saw it and I like when I first saw this, I was like, oh, that's the bee. But that isn't the bee. That's
No, it's
what
not.
Suki referred to as Obi-Wan. So
Yeah, that's
let's
Obi-Wan.
okay. So let's go back to that picture. We'll speculate about the bee, and then we'll go to this. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I mean there were
just
there were some zoomed in pictures of the bee shared, but that is not the bee. But look at Ya flexing the suit, flexing the Tataru backpack, and flexing the Anak volcano. Just being like, hey guys, I'm back. We're back.
all right. Let's see if I can get this bee zoomed in on screen. It's pixels, so obviously it's not gonna look great.
Why don't you
But
right click it and open image in tab.
I did.
All right, there you go.
Here we go. Let's zoom in. Oh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we've got this little bee thing here in the back, which
Yeah,
is
look at it. Look at
I'm
it.
I'm wondering what typing it's gonna be.
Enhance. Enhance.
Yeah, if only we had that. I'm wondering what typing it's gonna be because we already have
It's
a
gonna be
wind.
electric.
Well, of course it's gonna be electric, but if it has a second typing,
Electric digital.
electric digital. You think electric digital? I think we're already gonna have enough electric digitals, or maybe this will be the first one. Who knows?
Do you think we're gonna have a
I
lot of
think we'll
electric
get.
digitals?
I think we might get two electric digitals, maybe. But this, like, I don't know. I was kind of thinking, electric nature or electric toxic would be kind of cool for it. Bees with, the poison, or bees with um, pollinating flowers and all of the other things. But it looks like a little fuzzball. So I hope it's not electric wind, just because we have Gazuma, and I'd rather give
Yes.
buffs to Gazuma than better
Before
Gazuma.
we continue, just hatch the damn egg already, okay? We're all
Wait,
sitting here waiting.
big hat? Oh, I did. Here we go. Um, I'm not expecting great things out of this. I just thought it'd be fun to
Watch
take
it be
the.
a Luma though.
Yeah, I thought it would be fun to take one of my Luma 2i eggs and hatch it on stream.
Aw.
Oh, it's got good stats though. Uh, Here we go. All right. But yeah, this is our little bumblebee, and we will see what it becomes. So yeah, I'm gonna put my final bet
I
in. I'm
hope
gonna
it turns
say
into like an aggressive wasp style thing, kind of like Beedrill, but cooler looking.
yeah. I'll put my final bet in at electric toxic. I'll go with I'll go with electric toxic. You know what? No, no. I'm gonna
Electric
go with
toxic.
electric nature, and I'm gonna hope.
Nature.
Yep, I'm gonna hope it gets some super fancy, flowery evolution form, and that would
No,
make me
just
happy.
just a. I agree with Dead Fox. I want a fluffier, fatter bee. Just
A fluffier, fatter bee,
a big giant chonk bee.
a bigger bee. All right.
Beedrill but fluffy and more angry. Yes.
So the next little bit of we got another teaser image posted on the official Temtem Twitter, and it said "Mentally, I'm here," and it was a picture of a Magmus, and it was slowly drowning in the lava.
And it's not slowly drowning in the lava. It's swimming. It's a fire shark.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess to me it kind of looked like it didn't have any control over the situation. Like one of the things, like, lava currents are supposed to be ridiculously hard to stop. Like they're supposed to be able to push stone barriers and stuff, and and when I made a joke on D&D on the D&D stuff I ran when I was doing like a lava encounter, and I got
Yeah.
called out because somebody's like, it's physically impossible to sink into lava because it's so dense, and I was like, true, it is molten stone. You got me.
I mean, you would melt before like you sunk into it. Like, I mean, obviously you're I don't know. Does lava eat your bones, you think?
I, I think we can go to the telltale source of what happens when you fall into lava, which is the third Lord of the Rings movie. Whatever happens to Gollum at the end, that we can take that as the scientifically accurate version of whatever happens when you fall into lava. Like he falls into Mount Doom and he tries to save the ring, and then he sinks into lava there. There we go. That's probably based on science.
Yes, it's definitely based on silence.
But the thing that I think is really important about this, other than getting teased for Obi-Wan again, I think I've seen it, its size and scale, I guess, compared to a tamer, is we have Yaw's character inside the Anik volcano, which is why we are now getting even more yumminess towards the theory we are probably getting our skates back. And what is up that rock climbing wall that we did not have rock climbing gear before?
It was already confirmed that we're getting our skates back.
Okay, so I remember you said that, but
Ya specifically said it.
okay, because I remember when I last, because you
And I
told me
mean, I
this when
know
I
Ya
returned, but you
trolls.
couldn't provide me any source of it. But
Yeah, because I'm too lazy. I'm not gonna go digging.
yeah, exactly.
And I
So
don't honestly remember where Ya said it. I'm pretty sure it was said during our interview with Q Angel. Pretty sure it was in that.
yeah, and exactly. Pretty sure is not 100% confirmed. So I'm right now.
I
I'm
mean,
I'm
I
in the
don't
boat of
know
ninety
about
nine
you,
percent. I'm in the boat of
but
99%.
anybody in this chat that knows me will tell you that my memory is better than that of an elephant with amnesia and a brain injury.
I will take that for what it's worth, which hopefully is a lot. All right. So let's jump on to our next bit of news. As it was said at the top of the show in our pre-recording, uh, Temtem number 081 got a name, and the whole community failed it. We named it Smolzy instead of Sparzel. How could we do this to ourselves? So I want everybody to take a second
Smallzy's
to.
amazing.
I want you to take a second to sit there and just think about what you've done. And no, I'm kidding. Yeah, we've got Smolzy. I voted for Sparzel. I'm not going to dunk on Smolzy. I don't know, I was thinking of like what felt good to say, like Sparzel,
It's
Sparzy,
so
Golzy.
small, though. It's
Yeah,
so small.
Smolzy, Sparzy, Golzy just didn't have like, I guess, the same.
But it's small. Z? Look at it. It's small. You see it?
Yeah, it's small and it's crazy. So let's hope it is. Let's hope it finds a little cup doing all the crazy, wonderful things that an electric Temtem can do. And yeah, we'll get it as a Goldsy eventually.
I 100% agree with Isosceles. If we're naming this thing Smallzy, we need to name the final evolution Swolzy. A
Swolsey,
100%. It is so swole. That thing is an absolute brute. Like,
Smolzy, Sparzy, Swolsey.
it's gotta be. It's gotta be Swolzy.
If
This way they all
only.
start with S's. It is kind of weird that the final evolution does not start with an S if the other two evolutions start with S's. It's a
Well,
little weird.
yeah. Also, this one didn't have a name until the community named it. So, but yeah, that's our little candle thing, our candle spark thing,
Our
and we
little
will
our
be
little
able to
zip
use it
zap
in
zorp.
game. Yeah, the zipper zapper. All right, so the next bit of news we had was news that you sent me. Do you want to give
Can you
context
believe
for
that?
this? I know,
Can you
right?
can you believe that?
You
I
just
found content.
Yeah, you just sent me pictures of Q Angel talking in a stream chat. I don't know whose stream chat Q Angel was talking in, so do you want to explain this one, or I we can just go over what the
This so Q
text is?
Angel was actually talking in the Fellow Tamers semifinals and final tournament this past weekend here. Q Angel was hanging out, watching the tournament, chatting with people, and kind of just leaking some stuff a little bit. Um, so there's some new moves that do not have animations yet. One of them being Savage Suplex, and in chat, Q Angel said the animation for Savage Suplex is top notch. Um, so Savage Suplex should probably have an animation coming in Sipanku. I really hope that Quetzaleno also has an animation because those two are like some of the biggest damaging moves that there are being used in competitive, and neither of them have an animation. So I find that a little funny. But it's good to know that Savage Suplex has one in the works. I'm sure that Quetzaleno will also have one in the works. Um, and also, Q Angel also said in chat, remember, so people were talking about there was oh gosh, there was a match between I'm really blanking right now because there were a lot of matches, but it was really long. It was best of three, I believe, and or best of five, and oh, it it took a long time. Uh, and people were complaining about saying how they love this meta, and then Q Angel was like, "Remember this meta before you come at me for the new meta in Sipanku." Um, so there may be an even worse stall meta coming. Ah, that's right, Shiro versus Turby. Thank you so much, Isosceles. Um,
Oh,
wait,
Shiro versus
wait,
Turby. That sounds like a good match.
Isosceles, are you busy right now? Do you have time to come into a voice chat? Because I know you were casting, and we would like to go over the fellow tamers tournament a little bit. If you want to maybe come on and talk about some of the best matchups that you thought and some of the cool stuff you saw. Because I watched it, I did watch it in 2 times speed because I was trying to catch up for the interview that I was doing, but I didn't have time to go back and watch it all. So before we move along
If
from talking about fellow
um
tamers real quick, or if
if
you want to finish what we were talking about first and then move to that real quick.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, if not, we can also do it in the post show too. But
No, because I think we should talk about the tournament on the show because,
okay.
people like hearing about competitive, and we have
W-
not been talking about it as much since somebody hasn't been playing competitive or watching the tournaments. The one guy who was the
Hey,
hype man, the one guy who was the competitive guru,
hey,
the
if you want,
all-knowing, the all-excited, the competitive
I'm gonna take that as a
mastermind.
compliment. But also, if you want competitive goodness, then we can go out and find it. But I will play.
No, you were the guy. You were the competitive guy. You were the one who talked about competitive. You were the one we could not get to shut up about competitive. And we've been super quiet about competitive for quite a while. So, I feel bad for people that like to come and listen to the show who like talking about competitive because I don't have a memory to talk about this stuff. You do.
I
You got
have
excited about it.
I have been watching more people play Temtem. I've just been lurking in streams and stuff, and I see moves and I see plays and stuff, but I just watch people on ladder. I haven't watched any big tournaments,
I
and
know, and we
I
all
was
miss it.
talking to Rarzi this past week, and Rarzi was telling me to compete in Plus's tournament, and I was like, oh, I'm definitely I put together a team and I was like, I'm gonna compete in Plus's tournament, and I didn't sign up for my guild's raid that night, and they were a healer down, and right as I was getting ready to like just set my night out and order food and everything, they messaged me and they're like, "Hey, I know you didn't sign up, but could you come help us out tonight? We really need you." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." It gives me an
Oh
excuse.
boy. Oh boy.
Dead Fox is just hearing excuses. Dead Fox, I've never hid the fact that I've hid from competitive, purely
No,
because I
Kennedy's
don't.
been pretty
Yeah.
open about it.
I've never. I need to get the mojo back, and I like. I don't know what it is, but it's. I, my partner can tell you I have no competitive fire whatsoever. I absolutely hate competing. I hate going against other people in literally anything. I hate being compared to anything. And it takes a very special jazz to get me enthused, like
But
to
you don't
compete
even
in
have to
something.
compete. Just you used to love just watching them. You
This
used
is
to
not
just
the
love
real
watching
Kennedy.
them.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
really not. What
yeah.
happened to you, Kennedy? Where did you go? What did you do? What did they
The
do to you?
Kennedy you
Where did
know died
competitive
a
touch you?
long time ago. No, but I'm gonna ease my way back into it. It's kind of I guess one of the
All
other
right, here we
things.
go. We're gonna pull Isosceles in here,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
chat.
let's
Just
get him.
let us know if Isosceles is a little loud or a little low. Okay. There he is, Isosceles. Can you say the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog for us?
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Oh
How
wow,
that
he
go?
sounds so wonderful.
Oh God, I love
Wait,
it.
you've
I
you've
love it
heard
so
me. You've
much.
heard me talk before. Come on.
I know, but it doesn't mean we don't miss you. So welcome,
Yeah,
friend of the show, RG
we
Isosceles. We've had you on before.
just a
Um,
tad soft. All right,
that's hang on.
we'll make Isosceles a
This
tad harder.
well,
Um,
well,
I
this is
mean,
what
we
happens when
all
you
are.
have cheap headset microphones. It's great.
No,
I had the issue
we
with
just need to boost you through Discord.
Yeah, I
so
turned him up.
I had
So
that issue on fellow tamers while I was casting, and I think the comment was, "Are they eating their mic?" I was like, "Ah, yeah, we're a little bit close to the mouth. All right, let's move back a little."
Well, if you're gonna be doing some more casting, maybe I'd be willing to assist you in getting a microphone. I've done it
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
I may need to get onto this. I still also don't have a decent webcam of any kind either, so my laptop is as classically bad as you could be. So maybe one
That's
day.
all right. That's all right. I mean, it does what you need, and you do super good when it comes to competitive and stuff, anyways. And we need information. We need you were there for the whole thing. You watched it. You helped commentate on everything that was happening. So if you want to just tell the people some amazing things that you saw or your favorite moments from the Fellow Tamers tournament, um, go for it.
Yeah, so this was it was an awesome tournament. Honestly, having a tournament with that sort of prize pool for a game that is early access is pretty great, to be honest. Fellow teamers have done a really good job having all these qualifiers. It's obviously spread out over a decent period of time as well, so you've been able to see the players sort of come through on different metas. Unfortunately, being an Australian, the time zone for fellow tamers is not nice, and having a tournament on a Sunday for North American time means
Uh,
nice 3 a.m. Monday morning for any of us Southeast Asians or Australians. But we
so
manage, we manage. But it was really good. Having the final spread out over 2 weekends, I think, made things different. Should we say the one big difference for those who don't know is that for fellow tamers, between rounds, or actually between matches, it was allowed as well. You could change your TVs. So moves, gears, Tems were all locked, but the TVs needed to be were able to be changed. Um, so I guess the big standout where that occurred is Subaki and Prodi won their group stages pretty convincingly for both of them as well, which meant they got to pick their opponents for the quarterfinals. Now that occurred last weekend, and then the quarterfinals were the Saturday North American time, which meant that the people who they picked to play against had the whole week to prep for them. What ended up happening is that those guys, particularly it was Wobbles and Gold, having a week to prep for a team like Prody or Subaki, where they're running that stall doom sort of comp, and being able to change your TVs certainly gives you a bit more of an advantage than what Subaki and Prody would probably have liked. So I know, for example, I spent a fair bit of time with Wobbles, helping him out, sort of trying to play a style and build a team and adjust his team so that it could counteract Subaki's. It also helps, I guess, Subaki being a big name, is there's a lot of information around what TVs and Tems and stuff he's running. So,
and especially where he streams a lot, and he talks to people about his spreads a little bit too. And usually if you're watching him play, you can see a lot of what he has anyway too.
Absolutely.
I've never been a fan of tournaments that allow the changing of TVs, techniques, or items between, specifically for reasons like this. I think Prodi is, and the teams Prodi chooses to run, is one of the biggest detriments, or I guess one of the biggest victims of this is, when you're facing Prodi and you have the opportunity to go against Prodi. You can put a chamomile on your team. You can put a talisman on your team, and obviously you would be running chamomile, but you never run talisman unless you're going against Doom. But it completely counters Prodi's team if you're sweeper or you're Volerin or something like that. And just the teams that I've seen Prodi run can't be doomed. It just I don't like the ability to change things.
It certainly, I guess, changes how you need to play those sort of tournaments. I found that the fellow team is like those Subaki and Prodi's teams. In that instance, they work really well when people are prepped for more general teams. So that's why you see it be really effective in the group stages there, because most people are building teams to counteract other meta teams. So when you come across an off-meta team, it can be really hard and it can really throw you. But then giving that extra time and having that ability to adjust certainly makes that life a little easier. But in saying that, they've still got to go out and win. My probably highlight from mid-panic, I guess, for weekends is Wobbles not responding when his match was up against Subaki, and then waking up about 2 minutes before he was about to get the scoreline for his match, and then going in and 2-0ing Subaki, which, as you can see from chat, rocked up with the copy pasta of, imagine you just wake up from a nap and 2-0 Subaki.
I was wondering what that coffee pasta was for. So that's wild that Wobbles woke up with 2 minutes from being disqualified to come and just 2-0 Subaki.
The guy's a madman, to be honest. He pulled pretty much an all-nighter and then was like, "No, we'll go have a quick little nap before the match starts." And sort of misjudged it a little, but thankfully got up in time. And
did he misjudge it a little bit though? Because clearly those
he got it very, very close.
That rest was exactly what he needed to come and pull out a 2-0 on Subaki.
Wobbles clearly has the rested trait, and it worked. It was effective. It unfortunately didn't work. It clearly wore off by the third match of the semi-finals, but he got the value for the first 4 games he played there. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at the team right now that Ice Red and Cherokee use. Definitely interesting. Ice Red moving on.
Bennett, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Ice Red Bennett. Yep.
Ice Red moved on to the finals, and the team that looks like was their winning match was a Volpe, Ukama, Grumper, Volerin, and Tuvine, and then Cherokee moving on to the finals, and I believe winning all the fellow tamers with a Toxic Koish, a Valash, Mushuk, Calibus, and Volerin playing that heavy toxic team. And I think this is just one of the things, like, we've got all of our win Tims, well, most of our win Tims, and toxics are only going to get better and better because, like, the main things that counter them are out there. And if people played toxic Tims in the win meta, gosh, that's crazy. 4 toxics on a team.
that was a big note. And like we mentioned, the Turby versus Cherokee game, both of them are playing heavy toxic cores.
Oh,
So that ended up being 3 games of perfect jab and then a spamming
it was
and
so
like
long.
humiliating slap. I think there was one of the matches, Turby ended up with like negative 10 defense buffs spread across his team, and then he had
Oh,
about negative 8
no.
attack debuffs onto Shiroki's team. So it's one of those ones where, look, unfortunately, yes, it's a pretty boring match to watch as a spectator, but those, I guess, someone who really enjoys the intricacies of PvP, getting to those
Yeah,
last sort of couple of turns on those sort of matches were actually really fascinating because all it took was one really good read on a swap to bring in a Naga safely, um, really just set up those wins. And yeah, unfortunately, the first 15 turns of PJAB and Tenderness don't really feel like they're achieving much by the time you get to there. But it's still interesting in its own right, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I watched that. That was a match I did watch, and I feel like as boring as it might be for spectators, um, at least most spectators, not all. Obviously, some people enjoy it, but I feel like it takes a lot of thought into whether or not you should be tendernessing or um, oh god, perfect jabbing, because make them do less damage, but you also want them to take more damage. So I think getting the right ones is it takes a lot of thought, especially when they're doing the same thing to you.
Finding that
That
balance is really important. I guess that's we saw quite a few teams who were running relatively balanced teams. Like you see, Gold's team had a lot of different options to set up and win these matches.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, Wobbles was playing. It was the only one who wasn't running Naga out of that top 8, which was really interesting. Then he's obviously a much more aggressive style. I guess that was the really nice thing from Fellow Tamers is that we were able to see that lots of different styles are still viable. Like while the meta, like it may feel stale on ladder, I guess, because most people are playing heavy Ketzer neutral
so
teams.
much
In
Ketsa.
tournaments, it's a whole different ball game. The variety that you can bring to tournaments is so much more interesting, in my opinion. And yeah, it's nice to see. And Shiroki did end up winning, and I think he ended up with €750. Pretty
Yeah,
pretty solid
that's
day
750.
out there.
Yeah,
Oh, it just
that is a nice little chunk of change. Before we get too far away from the toxic, so I do want to comment on Mushuk. There was a time when I was tracking data on all of the Tims being used in competitive, and especially right when Kiswa dropped, and for the main part of Kiswa, and Mushuk for the longest time was a very well used Tim across a lot of teams, but had the one of the highest loss rates and was most often losing matches. And there just came a time when people started taking Mushuk off of their team, and I think it's very interesting how the meta develops because when Kiswa came out, we all thought Mushuk was going to be amazing because obviously, he's a melee typing with all of these Earth Tims coming to the game. And there was just so much win pressure still transitioning out of the win meta because it just takes time for people to get all of these Tims and add them to their teams and new team comps to start to populate the meta where other things become good and other things become worse. And then I think obviously with the addition of all of the Koishas that you're going to see, it's just going to put Mushuk a step up. And then Wen's kind of drifting out. And who knows? Maybe we're in the return of Mushuk. I was talking to Rarzi about this the other night, and he mentioned, team without a Mushuk on it. And I was just like, Mushuk is great. Mushuk is great. Am I going to put Mushuk back on all of my teams again?
Honestly, the way I see Mashuk right now, I mean, firstly, it's one of those Tems that falls into the scenario of it'd be fantastic to have 7 move slots. You never know really what it's running because there's just so many good viable moves that you can run on it. But it's sort of in a situation like Calibus, I think, at the moment, where it covers so much. So while it's never, I guess, the gold standard. It's never going to win you a match. It certainly protects you against a lot of other issues. I I play a lot of birds. I love my win teams. I've run Mashuk on variants of that just for the turbo. It's certainly there. And the best outcome of seeing someone playing a toxic core winning fellow team is if everyone starts playing toxic teams. My life is good. So keep doing
Hey, RG Isosceles is gonna get some free TMR.
I mentioned it in a Tsubaki stream today. It's one of my favorite things. Firstly, Tsubaki, I do enjoy watching his streams. He does some great PvP content. It's always useful watching his PvP streams to see what people are going to copy that week on ladder. So when you've trying to, you see a lot of senior plat copycat teams as well.
Yeah.
If both of them start running pure toxic teams, it'll make life so much easier for me. So farming those guys is my favorite thing to do.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think like so with any PvP game, you know, any game with PvP, I think always the top tier upper echelon players basically define what people will be using always. I mean, you know, there's going to be people who obviously, you know, get good at PvP and can work on building their own teams, but the majority of people I feel like are just don't get to that level where they're comfortable building their own teams and just kind of build around what they see other people using.
100%. It just gets to the point of like they have the time to really invest in that. I guess I'll call it research in finding teams that work. There's a lot of people, and look, for other games, I used to be like that as well. You just don't have the time. You've got other commitments. It's perfectly fine. So you would just want to be able to pick up a team that you can run with relatively good success. Unfortunately, with the higher tiers, and that's what separates the players like Tsubaki and Senior Plat is running those teams effectively is different to just using them. And that's, I guess, a really big distinction. Trying to play Senior Plat's team, but not being Senior Plat, certainly makes it a lot harder.
So I'm going to pause this for a second. We are hitting pretty high in our time. So, Gaijin, how about we do listener questions next week? And then we can go to we can do your turn 30, and then we'll get out of here, and then we can hang out with RG Isosceles in the post show.
As long as you still have time to hang out, Isosceles.
Yeah, man. I'm currently working right now, but we've got I don't have meetings for a few hours, and we're back on lockdown at the moment, so it's a pretty quiet week.
I haven't eaten anything all day.
Not
and
nice.
I ordered food like 2 hours ago, and it's just sitting there waiting for me. I'm thinking about it.
You can eat. You can eat on
no,
stream.
Not while I can eat on stream, not while we're recording. So
yeah, you could.
Just
turn off your cam for a little bit.
That's an ASMR stream for a different date.
No, that's called a mukbang stream. Get with it.
All right, let's do our closing, and then we'll do the turn 30, and then we'll go into our post show. So,
all right.
I think I threw it to you last week first, so I'll take it first today or tonight. Oh wait, we've got a special guest, RG Isosceles.
We do the guest first.
RG Isosceles,
where can people find you?
Generally lurking in most people's streams. I don't stream myself. You may run into me on ladder every now and then. But no, I just sort of exist and hang out with the asylum guys,
right? Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Hey, viewers, don't look now, but he's right behind you.
No, we're building a really good group over at Asylum. It's certainly a fun club to be a part of. We've got the majority of the Aussie Temtemers in that club now as well, which is really fun for me. It's good to have people at similar time zones to talk with and play silly games with. So it's good fun.
Wait, so you're telling me it's the Asylum?
Well, look, we're sort of awkwardly split between Aussies and the Dutch. So with Arkham and Coders, they've sort of pulled in a few of the Dutch guys, and somehow they just sort of magnetize all the other Aussies to us. So yeah, it's the Aussies, the Dutch, and Rosie. So
I see what it is. So Rosie's trying to steal all the good accents. So that I don't have anyone with really nice accents to talk to in my club voice chat. Awesome. I see how it is. It's all right. I'll just come and hang out in Asylum anyway.
All
Always
right.
welcome.
For me, I live stream D&D content on my Twitch channels, Presby Kennedy, spelled just how you see it on the screen, every Saturday night and every other Sunday. Hope to see you there. Gaijin, where can the people find you?
Basically everywhere except Facebook and a couple other sites, but twitch.tv/it's Gaijinbu is my main platform where I stream. I am basically always there. I have a Discord, I have Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. All it's Gaijinbu. So ITSGAIJINBUU.
All right, and finally, if you want to watch the show live, we live stream every Monday night at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, on the show's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/temtalkshow, twitch.tv/temtalkshow. We'd love to hang out with you. And I'm going to throw it to you, Gaijin, for the turn 30. You had. Oh, wait, you sent me the link, and I will
I
pull it
did
up
send you the
now.
link. So, speaking of Australians, one of my, actually not one of my absolute favorite artist is from Australia, Limit Break Customs. And recently, he made a custom painted PlayStation 5, and it is epic. And I happen to be lucky enough to be the one person who was able to buy it. So that right there on screen is going to be my new PlayStation 5, provided it gets to me in one piece. He makes a lot of really cool art. He does a lot of custom skateboards and stickers and just all kinds of different fun stuff. He's looking to branch out. He does some really cool machetes too. Um, they're just like collectible art pieces, which is really cool. So I'm super
I like
excited.
its logo here. Do you have games already for? Do you have a PS5 and do you have games for it? And
I
if
do not have a PS5. This will be my very first PS5 because they're impossible to get. But I do have Temtem for it already. I don't have it,
nice.
but I pre-ordered Temtem for the PS5.
What are you going to? What else are you gonna purchase for it?
Oh, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, absolutely.
Okay.
And the two games I'm most excited for are Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank has
Oh
been
wow, Ratchet and
my
Clank's making a
absolute
return.
like favorite. It returned for the PS4. They had one for the PS4. It's one of my favorite ongoing series from Sony for an exclusive. It's
Yeah,
just
that's the ones I remember as a kid, like of just like the uniqueness. But looking at this, it just reminds me of all of the times when I was in college that I bought multiple DSs for the, limited artistic versions of DSs, all the different Pokemon versions, the Smash versions, and I treasured those so much. And this looks really, really, really cool, so I hope
yeah.
you treasure it.
Oh, I'm going to. I mean, I was worried that somebody was going to buy it and then just resell it for even higher than he was selling it for. Because it's a one-off custom painted. I mean, he hand painted everything here with his. I mean, it's spray paint, of course, but he cuts out all the pieces and then does all the spray paint work and all that stuff. But it's a one-off piece, so they could have sold it for even more than people that are selling the scalpers are selling them for right now. So
Yeah.
um,
All
I'm really
right.
excited.
That is where our show is going to end for tonight. We'll do a little post show.
Wait. Let me
Yes.
shout him out real quick.
Go ahead.
Limit Break Customs, limitbreakcustoms.com or Limit Break Customs on Instagram. Super amazing artwork. Go check him out.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will see you next week, hopefully.